Hello, everybody. My name is Ivan, and this is JavaScript Capacity Center New Year week. Today is Wednesday. It means that today the third day of our week, and we already had two speakers before, two talks. So the first one was on Monday, and we were talking with Stepan about Rust, the second programming language. Yesterday, we had a talk with Mikhail about AI, artificial intelligence. Really interesting talk. I really suggest you to take a look at it. Today we have a special talk also, and I will present it a bit later. So tomorrow, on a Thursday, we will have a talk from Vasily about content platform, and a couple of speakers will talk about 2D and 3D applications in on Friday. So don't miss it. We had a really interesting agenda and a lot of interesting talk, and we'll be happy to see you there. As already mentioned, I will present today talk a bit later, and now it's time for that. So the name of the talk, the title of that, it's Unveiling Accessibility Challenges in React. So a lot of you probably heard about accessibility, how to work with it, but have you thought about working with that in React and about some challenges? And we have a speaker. The name of the speaker is Mehmet Yarar. Mehmet, I'm
Hello,
passing my word.
friends. Hello, colleagues.
Uh, Hello, Mehmet. So I'm passing my word to you, and feel free to continue.
Sure. Thanks, Ivan. So we are going to talk about accessibility and React today. I assume that my audience has experience with developing applications with React. Also, maybe familiar with the concept of accessibility, but that's not necessary for today. So, what we are going to do today is that we are going to discuss about how to identify and prevent accessibility issues. And we will touch a little bit on how to address accessibility issues specific to React applications. So before getting into the technical details, I would like to talk about disabilities and accessibility in general. So give you a quick introduction. So according to the World Health Organization, there are over 1 billion people experiencing a significant disability. That is the 16% of the total population, and that's one in every six person almost. That's a lot, really. And if we divide, uh, if we talk about disabilities, we can divide them into four main categories, like physical, auditory, visionary, and cognitive disabilities. Um, Sometimes people have disabilities permanently, like blindness or deafness, but sometimes it can happen to us temporarily or in a situation. The thing is, the most important thing is disability is not a disability unless we enable people. So think about a person with wheelchair and facing with some stairs. If we provide this person a lift, like stair lift, this person is enabled and no more disabled, right? So it is same for accessibility and disability in web. So we need to enable people to accommodate for their disabilities. So it is actually on our hands to make the web accessible. There's a link here, Microsoft Inclusive Design. I strongly recommend to check out this link as it provides many useful information about inclusive design. So why should we care about accessibility? Because of the noble reasons. Like we can empathize with people with disabilities. For example, you can try to like navigate through a web page, by closing your eyes. Or you can watch a YouTube video without subtitles, or watch any video without subtitles, and see how difficult that is. So that's one of the reasons we need to provide accessibility. There's also business side of it, like by making our applications accessible, we reach out to more people, and that brings more revenue to the business. But on the other side of the coin, there are lawsuits day by day increasing every year. So companies faces this excessive fines about accessibility. So what is there for us as developers? Yes. So i- as a result of this increased lawsuits, uh, there is more demand in the industry that uh, applications are more accessible. So it improves the demand regarding the accessibility. So if you improve your skills in terms of accessibility, and it will provide you more job security. So what are the most important points in implementing accessibility? So we need to understand the four principles. I'm not going into the details. You can click the link and get more details, get more information. But we have some guidelines for web accessibility, and it tells you what we need to care about. And in order to be accessible application, we need to adhere to these guidelines. And I drop you a link to the specification. It's a long documentation, but I would suggest going through the each item. And before getting into the technical details, how we identify, prevent, and implement, address some accessibility issues, let me introduce myself to you. I'm Mehmet. I'm a software engineer at EPAM for more than 2 years. Um, and overall, I have 6 years experience in developing React applications. Nowadays, I am building a design system and micro front-end applications, which has the most important topics of internationalization, web security, and of course, accessibility. You can reach me out in social media with this nickname, Nayoski. Though I'm not very much active nowadays, but I have plans to do so. But in worst case, you can connect me on LinkedIn. So what is in our agenda? Uh, we are going to talk about identifying accessibility issues and how to prevent those in an automated way. Uh, and then we are going to talk about manual accessibility testing as well. And then we are going to address some of the issues in React applications. Sorry. Our first line of defense in automated accessibility testing is Xcore React. And uh, this is a console-based accessibility auditing. And there is excellent support for Chrome, but limited support for Safari and Firefox. And this is suggested, recommended to be used in development only. So why development only? Because the package is huge and it can create huge bundles for you if you're using it in the production. But it is very good for the development, and I drop you a GitHub link to here. Let's go through quickly how to implement this. First of all, we need to install the package. And then the thing is, we have several pages in our applications. Yeah, we need to audit all the pages. So I thought that it is best to maybe create a hook. So this is the hook. And we are running an effect. And as long as the path changes, uh, we are running this hook. Of course, we are not running it on the server, and we are not running it in the production. So the Xcore React exposes a function X, which is a promise, and when you pass that, when you pass your configuration to the function, you will get some accessibility issues listed. You can specify your timeout, and there are some configuration options here. Um, for example, there might be some rules that you want to disable always. Maybe you don't care about them, though I don't recommend. But maybe you can also provide some additional uh, rules per page. So when you run um, this hook in a page, you will get some accessibility issues on your page. As you can see, we have some severities for each of the issues, like critical, serious, or moderate. And you can see the what the issue is about, and you can click a link to get more information about that. Our second line of defense is just a Slint plugin. And this plugin is included in most of known um, like frameworks, for example, Next.js, or most of the ASLint plugin combinations like Airbnb. So this is about statically analyzing the code and determining, identifying the accessibility issues. It is recommended to use this in combination with XReact because this is only finding issues in the code. So you cannot see, you cannot have any reports regarding visual testing. In terms of implementation, it is also including an installation. We are going to install the package. And then in our ASLint configuration, we can extend our configuration with recommended or strict. So there are not much differences between them, but some rules are turned off by default. Like some are disabled or not included in the recommended or strict configs. And these are those rules. If you want to be more strict about your ASLint check-in, you can also include these rules in the configuration. In a design system, you can also identify your components like input or buttons, or for example, you have a component which that is using as polymorphic. So this plugin is able to find issues, find accessibility issues in those cases. In terms of results, when we run the lint command, we can get the output of what kind of accessibility issues are found in the code base. For example, we have some click events, have key events, or we have some alt text issues here. As you turn on the rules that I mentioned earlier, you can definitely get more errors depending on your current state of the code. I would recommend doing so. Let's talk about unit testing. So we have a package for that, and that is called JustX. And this is a custom just matcher based on Xcore. And uh, by default, color contrast issues are turned on by default. Because this is unit testing, we cannot do any visual regression testing. And if you are testing your portals, for example, you're testing your model, it is recommended to use the base element instead of container. In terms of implementation, we need to install JustX, also additional like just environment, just DOM types of JustX. So um, there are a couple of ways to introduce this to your code base. For example, in your test setup file, you can import the just expand, or if you don't want to do that, you can in your test file import to have no violation and extend the expect default expect. Once you have that, you can write your unit test. And uh, as a matter in fact, this is a promise, so you need to add async await syntax to it. And as I mentioned earlier, for the Xcore React, you can have some default rules for your code base, or disable some rules temporarily. What I prefer to do in this case, I create some utility and I export a function, like expect to have no violations. In that case, I can have some permanent rules that I want to disable. I also allow adding custom rules to check the violations. So result of unit test is, as you can see, like we have the description of the issue and the recommendation of how to fix it. You can also see the link here to get more information. Let's talk about end-to-end testing. Actually, Cypress allows component testing as well, so I'm going to talk about that too. So this is accessibility audit in extent to Xcore. Comparing to other previous uh, automated testing, this is a bit more complicated, but you have more advantages like visual testing. For example, you can check the color contrast issues on your page. So how to integrate it into your code base? You can install the Cypress X, and you will need Xcore as well. So in tsconfig, you need to extend the types, and in your Cypress config, in order to log, this is not necessary, but you can like uh, display the accessibility issues in a table. For example, if you remember what the console table is, uh, this is exactly doing that. And in the component test, it is the same setup. So you need to import Cypress X in end-to-end.ts in support. And you need to also set up your typings if you're using TypeScript. You need to add a command. As I said, this is a lot more complicated than comparing to other things, but you will get the advantage of visual testing. At the end of the day, once you write your accessibility test, so this is how you check your accessibility, but in between visiting the page and running your accessibility test, you need to inject and configure X. This the steps are added here. So it's very nice to see some color contrast issues that we couldn't determine with the Xcore React or plugin or unit test. The table I mentioned here, it is much more convenient to see all the errors in your code base. And this is the result of component tests, for example. In terms of end-to-end tests, we also have another player. on the stage, that is Playwright. And Playwright also allows you to test your applications for accessibility. So the results are hard to read. Let me show that to you. And mostly it provides its own API to enable or disable rules. For example, you have the same setup almost for Xcore React, um, Jest X, Cypress X, but Playwright is doing that a little bit differently. You can check the documentation for more details. But for example, this is how we disable rules in Playwright. So we need to install the package Xcore Playwright, and then we need to go to page and analyze the page to get the accessibility violations. As a result of that, in Playwright, so we have some accessibility violations, but when you get to the results of these violations, this is very hard to read, as you can see. So that depends on your project, of course. Maybe you have Cypress, maybe you have Playwright, but consider this also. The When we talk about UI components or UI libraries, Storybook is the most famous one. How we can set up, how we can show our components, and there is an add-on for Storybook which displays the accessibility violations for each of your components. It is very easy to set up, and you can right away see the accessibility violations, and that depends on Xcore. It is very easy to set up. You install the add-on into your code base and add the add-on. You can, of course, disable some rules permanently, or you can disable some rules temporarily based on your story. For example, let me demonstrate that to you uh, in my local application. So this is the design system I created. Um, I guess I need to change some settings in Storybook, but let's get back to here and see the results in the presentation. So we have a tab for accessibility, and it tells you what kind of accessibility issues were found in your component. For this component specifically, carousel, we have some buttons that don't have some labels. So when you get into that, well, as people, we can say that this is a button that makes your slide goes to the right, and this one makes your slide goes to the left. But for a person with some disability, they don't know what these buttons are about. So this accessibility tab tells you that what kind of issues you have, and it also tells you that this image has no description. One of the most common issues in accessibility. So automated testing is very good and helps you to identify your most common problems, but that's only the 30% of the accessibility issues, according to a research. So manual testing is necessary. And I will give you some browser extensions uh, here. Most of you maybe know what XDevTools is. Maybe accessibility insights for web is also very common. Maybe we can try some of these uh, in a live application. For example, we have some Stark tool. This is a company um, about accessibility, and it helps you to audit your page. Uh, you can install the Chrome extension and start your audit. So it tells you the score and the violations found in the page. We have another extension called IBM Equal Accessibility Checker, and this work also in the same way. For example, this one found uh, 51 violations. So each tool is different, and you may want to experiment with each tool and see which one fits best to your situation. I want to also demonstrate this color contrast checker. So for example, in this page, it tells you what kind of color contrast issues you might have. For example, this one, these links are having some color contrast issues. Certainly try out maybe this extensions and see if they are useful for you. Let's talk about the most common issues in React applications. And when we think about React, single page applications are one of the most common ways to develop React applications. And the thing is, uh, you can switch between pages easily, yeah, without having a round trip to the server. For example, we can go to the resource page, but there's nothing uh, here tell you that the page is changed. So what can we do in this kind of situation? And this is a really serious accessibility issue for single page applications. So screen readers or other assistive technologies are not informed when the page changed. So in that case, we can what we can do is to update the page title. We should definitely do that. And we can use area live regions to inform the users or screen readers that the content has changed. And because we are shifting the page, we also need to shift the focus to the top of the new document, new page. Um, for changing the title, in this example, I used React Helmet async. And for that, you need to provide a helmet provider. And in each of your page, you need to define your page title. You can create some hook to update the title. And in some of the components where you determine the page change, you can add this area live region. So as soon as the page title change, it will inform the user uh, that we are navigated to another page. Another thing is keyboard focus. And here's some uh, example code how to do that. Other most common issues are dynamic content, which we face a lot in React applications because we get some content from the server, and we can use Area Live to update the user about that change. And we also need to think about the keyboard focus. For example, in React, we have synthetic events, and that events may not always correspond to accessibility events in the browser. So we need to care about that. You should definitely not use div or span elements like div or span, non uh, semantic elements. And if you have to do some on-click event, you need to use tab index on key down, on key up, and use the appropriate role. So in general, be mindful about the basics. Use semantic HTML elements, avoid low contrast, use descriptive text for your images, and associate labels with your form controls. I drop you a link here about VCAG patterns. When you find the best practices about accessibility, you can check these implementations. You can use UI libraries with accessibility supports that includes Chakra UI, Material UI, and all of that. And don't hesitate to create issues in these repositories, in this code bases, when you face some accessibility issues. So let's remember that the bad only disability in life is a bad attitude. So if we have some good attitude, we can make life easier for other people as well. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and you can check the source code and presentation with these QR links. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehmet, very much. It was really interesting. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them on whatever platform you're seeing that. And yeah, we'll ask them, Mehmet. But for now, I have my question. So today, I would say maybe this year, it's the year of artificial intelligence. We have a lot of kind of helpers, a lot of assistants that are built with the AI. Do you have something similar with the accessibility? Maybe some tool that I just add and it fixes all my questions about accessibility, and my site is perfect, accessible, and everyone's happy.
Some of the tools I mentioned in the browser extensions, they use AI behind the scenes. But what I do in general, that I use ChatGPT, for example, if I want to uh, make some component or something accessible. So I get some help from ChatGPT, I can say. So if you know how to do your prompt, how to prompt properly, you can definitely get some help from ChatGPT or other AI.
Hmm. Okay, okay, I get it. Thank you. So I don't see any questions in the chat, and yeah, it looks like that we are running out of time. So I think we can finish. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Mehmet, for your presentation, for your talk. It was really interesting, and I think we can finish. Have a good day.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a good day, folks.
Bye.